Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the most gripping true crime stories from around the world. Today, we're delving into another tragic and heartbreaking case. The murder of Uyinene, a 19-year-old student at the University of Cape Town, is a heart-wrenching case that sent shockwaves through South Africa and beyond. Her brutal killing in August 2019 by Mr. Botha, a 42-year-old post office employee, brought to the fore the grim reality of gender-based violence (GBV) in South Africa. The story of Nene is not just one of a young life tragically cut short, but it also underscores the deep-seated issues of violence against women in a society grappling with its social and cultural dynamics. Born in East London, Nene was a vibrant and ambitious young woman with dreams of making a difference in the world. Known for her infectious smile and warm personality, Nene was loved by all who knew her. She was not just an ordinary student. She was a beacon of hope, a person who embodied the aspirations of many young women in South Africa. Nene had a passion for media and was pursuing a degree in film and media studies at the University of Cape Town, a prestigious institution known for nurturing some of the brightest minds in the country. Her move to Cape Town marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. A chapter that was supposed to be filled with academic pursuits, new friendships, and experiences that would shape her future. But beneath the surface of this promising life was a society riddled with deep-rooted issues of gender inequality and violence, issues that would eventually claim Nene's life in the most brutal way imaginable. On August 24, 2019, Nene walked into the Clare Inch post office in Claremont, Cape Town to collect a parcel she had been eagerly waiting for. It was a simple errand, something she had probably done many times before without a second thought. However, this day would be different. Before proceeding, I'd like to share an important message with everyone. We've been exerting our utmost effort to produce top-notch content on our channel. Despite our dedication over a considerable period, we're yet to reach our initial goal of 1,000 subscribers, with 97% of our viewers yet to subscribe. Therefore, we kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel if you enjoy our content. Unknown to her, the man who was supposed to assist her, Mr. Botha, had other sinister plans. Botha, who had a history of violence and was later revealed to have multiple rape charges against him, lured Nene into the post office under the pretense that the electricity had gone out and that she should return later. When she came back, he was alone in the building. What followed was a brutal assault. Mr. Botha overpowered Nene and raped her. When she tried to resist, he bludgeoned her to death with a post office scale. The brutality of the crime was shocking, not just because of the violence involved, but also because of the sheer randomness of it. Nene had simply gone to the post office, a place where she should have felt safe. Her death was not just a murder, it was a stark reminder of the dangers that women in South Africa face daily. Nene's disappearance was initially met with hope that she would be found alive. Friends, family, and fellow students rallied together, spreading her picture on social media and organising search parties. But as the days passed, hope turned to despair. On August 26, 2019, just 2 days after her disappearance, the police arrested Mr. Botha. He eventually confessed to the crime, leading the authorities to where he had hidden Nene's body in a township not far from Cape Town. The news of Nene's murder sent shockwaves across South Africa. People from all walks of life expressed their grief and outrage. Vigils were held in her honour, with thousands of people taking to the streets to demand justice. The hashtag #I'mNext trended on social media as women across the country shared their experiences of sexual harassment and assault, highlighting the pervasive nature of gender-based violence in South Africa. Nene's murder became a catalyst for a broader conversation about gender-based violence in South Africa. The country, already grappling with high rates of violent crime, was forced to confront the reality that women were particularly vulnerable. The government came under intense pressure to take action, with President Cyril Ramaphosa acknowledging that South Africa was facing a national crisis of violence against women. In response to the public outcry, Ramaphosa announced a series of measures aimed at combating gender-based violence. These included tightening bail conditions for perpetrators, creating harsher penalties for offenders, and improving the support systems for survivors of GBV. However, many activists and ordinary citizens remained sceptical, pointing out that promises had been made before with little follow-through. The frustration of the South African people was palpable. For many, Nina's murder was not just a tragic, isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern of violence that had been allowed to fester for too long. The calls for justice were not just about punishing her killer, but about addressing the systemic issues that had made her murder possible in the first place. The trial of Mr. Botha was swift. Given his confession and the overwhelming evidence against him, the legal proceedings did not drag on for years, as is often the case. On November 15th, 2019, Botha was sentenced to 3 life terms in prison, 1 for rape, 1 for murder, and 1 for defeating the ends of justice. He was also sentenced to an additional 5 years for committing an act of indecency. While the sentence provided some measure of justice, it did little to ease the pain of Nane's family and friends. Her mother, who had been vocal about the case from the start, expressed the deep sorrow and anger that the family felt. Nene was their light, their pride, and her loss left a void that could never be filled. For Nane's parents, the loss of their daughter was devastating. They had raised a beautiful, intelligent and caring young woman who had her whole life ahead of her. Her mother, who had been particularly close to Nene, was heartbroken. She had watched her daughter grow into a strong and independent woman, only to have her life snatched away in such a cruel manner. There were also concerns about the relationship Nene had been involved in before her death. Her parents had expressed unease about it, worrying that it was not a healthy or safe situation for their daughter. They had tried to guide her, to protect her, but ultimately they could not shield her from the violence that would take her life. The pain of knowing that they could not save her added another layer to their grief. Her father, who had always been a pillar of strength for the family, found it difficult to cope with the loss. The dreams he had for his daughter, the future he had envisioned for her, were all shattered. The family had to navigate the difficult journey of mourning, dealing not just with the loss of Nene, but also with the public nature of her death. The outpouring of support from the public was a double-edged sword. While it showed how much Nene had touched the lives of others, it also made the grief more public, more visible, and in some ways harder to bear. Nene's death was not in vain. Her murder sparked a nationwide movement that continues to resonate today. In her memory, the Nene Foundation was established to combat gender-based violence and to support initiatives that aim to protect women and children in South Africa. The foundation works to raise awareness about the dangers that women face and to create safe spaces where they can live free from fear. The Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation is not just a tribute to a young woman whose life was tragically cut short. It is a call to action, a reminder that much work needs to be done to ensure that no other woman has to suffer the same fate as Nene. The foundation works closely with other organisations, both locally and internationally, to advocate for the rights of women and to push for systemic changes that will make South Africa a safer place for all. Nene's story also led to increased scrutiny of the institutions that failed her. The post office where she was murdered has since become a symbol of the dangers that women face in spaces where they should feel safe. The case highlighted the need for better vetting processes for employees, particularly in public spaces where women are often vulnerable. The government, while slow to act initially, has made some strides in addressing the issues raised by Nene's murder. However, activists argue that more needs to be done. The laws must not only be in place but also enforced rigorously. The police and the judiciary must be better equipped to handle cases of gender-based violence, and there must be a shift in societal attitudes towards women and girls. The story of Nene is one that South Africa will not forget. It is a story that has forced the nation to look inwards, to confront the ugly truths about the treatment of women and the pervasive culture of violence. Nene's murder was not just a crime, it was a reflection of a society that has allowed gender-based violence to thrive. Her story has become a symbol of the fight against this violence. It has inspired protests, led to changes in legislation, and sparked countless conversations about the safety of women in South Africa. Additionally, the Q Crime channel offers numerous other captivating cases for you to explore. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with Q Crime Story videos every day. Farewell for now, and we eagerly anticipate your presence in our future videos.